Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Kata and I'm talking today about detachment and surrender and how the two are linked and how they really truly go hand in hand. And this was something that I didn't understand for the longest time. And now that I'm understanding it and now that I'm integrating the knowing within myself and truly understanding why this is so important to acknowledge within one's life has really helped me to shift out of certain patterns and certain situations that I was extremely stuck in. So that's why I wanted to share this, because I know so many of us are attached, right? We have attachments to things, to people, to objects, to money, to status, to so many different things. And that's why I really wanted to touch on this, because what I'm coming to understand as I'm awakening, as I'm going through my journey and my process, I'm beginning to realize that there's so much attachments that we have, and all attachment is actually based in fear. And when I look at my own life and I look at my personal attachments to different people and situations and objects, then I came to realize, I kind of asked myself, like, why am I so attached to this individual or to this thing? And the answer that always comes up within me is because I'm afraid to lose it. So that kind of really set off an aha moment within me, and it helped me to realize that when I'm afraid to lose something, that's when I create this attachment. And the attachment I see actually as a visual in my head as like these energy hooks. Like we energetically hook into people, into situations, into jobs, into circumstances, into objects, into all kinds of things, anything that you're really attached to. We energetically hook into those things, and that's why it becomes so difficult to release it. Because if you don't realize that you're hooked into it, then you're not going to be able to pull your hooks out. And now recognizing my own hooks within other people with different things that I have embedded them into, I am now bringing awareness to it, and I'm really consciously looking to unhook. And I'm not trying to unhook it, I am just unhooking it. I'm simply doing it because I'm recognizing how much it's actually keeping me stuck. It's like a line. It's like, think of a fishing line, right? When you hook something with your fishing line, you're holding the other end of the rod. So you're attached to it, right? And unless you let the rod go and say it's hooked on something and like it's snagging, right? And it's not coming. You're not able to pull the fish out. You're not able to reel in. So if you're not able to reel in, it's because it's stuck on something. So you have really two options. One, keep struggling and keep trying to pull that reel in, or you can choose to simply let the rod go and let it fly off into the water, right? And whatever snagged it can either take it or it'll just sink, right? But either way, you're going to detach from it. So it's very, very important to notice the same kind of hook. Like, think about your own fishing rod, and what do I have my fishing rod hooked into, and where did I throw my lures out, and then which one of those lures, like, did I pull any of them in? Did anything actually reel in or come into my life of those things that I hooked into, that I was so attached to and so refusing to let go, right? Like, did any of that actually come into my life? Your answer is probably going to be no, because my answer is no. Anything that I was super attached to actually didn't come into my life and has not come into my life. And that's why it hasn't come into my life, because I now realize that I was so attached to it, and more so realizing that the attachment is fear itself. And now that I acknowledge that attachment is fear, I can see how that was so toxic, and I can see how that was actually preventing me from having that thing in my life, because I was so adamant on having it, and I was actually terrified of it never really coming into my life. And I realized as I'm going through the whole process of learning how to manifest, that I can actually not manifest from a place of attachment. It just doesn't happen. I could try until I'm blue in the face and it doesn't happen. And that's why it doesn't happen, because the attachment is based in fear. It's the foundation of that attachment is fear. And until I learn to release the fear, and that's why I say detachment equals surrender, because that's ultimately what has to happen. Is you need to surrender the fear. You need to let go of it and just release it. And as you release, as you surrender, you become detached from that thing that you're so hooked into. And usually 9 times out of 10, that thing actually now is able to come into your life because there's no resistance to it. When we're attached to something, it means that we don't believe that we can have it, or we don't believe that it's going to come together. And we are hooked and we are fearfully gripping onto it for dear life. But once you surrender, that fearful gripping is no longer going to be there. You slowly release your fingers and you just let it go. And you can actually feel it sort of slip through your fingers, but acknowledge the lightness that you feel, because that's what I feel. That's what I'm acknowledging within myself, is that when I release something that I'm super attached to, I actually feel so much fucking lighter, like so much lighter. It feels like an elephant has been pulled off of me because I'm no longer in that sort of desperate energy. I'm no longer in that super attachy, fearful, like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to get it kind of energy. I'm just in absolute openness. Surrendering means that I have opened myself up to allow anything to come in. It's more because I'm realizing with my manifesting that if I want something in my life, then I need to think of it like it's not a big deal. And if I think of it like it's not a big deal, I find it just comes right in, no problem. But anything that I make a big deal about, like, ooh, that's a big one, or ooh, that's going to be hard to manifest, then it is. It just, what you think is truly what we experience is what you experience, right? So, and that's what I've noticed time and time again. And then I kept manifesting from the same like point of view over and over and over, and trying to have these things come into my life while simultaneously being scared shitless of having it in my life. So do you see how the two energies conflict, and that's why it can't actually come into my life? But as soon as I can let go of that, it just flows in because there's no resistance to it any longer. So it's really cool, like just observing how things are working, and how, like, I thought I was like so good at manifesting, and I really understood, and I am good at manifesting actually, because I can manifest a lot of bad shit for myself, no problem too, really quickly. But that's why I'm able to do that, because I mean, fear is a pretty powerful magnet. So the things that we're fearful of half the time also can come into our lives. And usually I don't find that turns out very well. But yeah, just, food for thought. It's something to really think about. If you feel attached to anything, and I mean, let's face it, we're all human. We're all in the same boat here, okay? We're all on the same planet. So we're all experiencing pretty well the same things, just in different forms, right? But we're all attached to things. We all have these attachments, these desperate, fearful, clingy things that we do when it comes to different things. And that's why we do that, because we're just so terrified, and that's okay. I think it's more about what I'm seeing for myself is I just need to acknowledge my own fear, recognize first of all that, yeah, I want that thing, but I'm actually terrified of having it, right? And then address, why am I terrified of having that? And when I looked at that within myself, then I understood that it was just because, first of all, I didn't feel worthy of having it. Second of all, I didn't know if I was truly deserving of it. On the one hand, I felt like, yes, I was, but on the other hand, kind of sort of deep down, I wasn't. And then I acknowledged that the deep down that I was feeling that I wasn't actually came from childhood, programming, and came from, that's still shadow, right? Those are still shadow parts of myself that I need to work on and that I need to look at. Any limitation that you have within yourself, just go back to childhood. Like, go back into the inner child and look in deep within yourself, and you will recognize that there's like a lot of shadow parts within ourselves that we need to look at. And all of our shadow parts are based in fear. So that's why we have fear. Until we address the shadow, and until you do the work to fully address what you're actually afraid of, and ask yourself, why am I afraid to have this? Or why am I afraid of doing this, or whatever? You'll get the answers, but you got to go within yourself to look for those answers, not outside of yourself. because that's something that I became aware of as well. I was listening to a lot of tarot, a lot of different people and all their, card readings and opinions and stuff. And I was taking a lot of it on as my own information. Some stuff I would super resonate with, but other stuff, to be honest, left me more confused. And then I realized, like, I have to go within myself and I have to ask myself, my higher self, what it is that I truly want in life, and seek my answers within myself, not outside of myself. And that was a game changer for me. That really, really changed the direction of how I now look at manifesting the things that I truly want in my life. And I've also come to realize how I need to release the fear if I actually want those things to come into my life, like now. So that's my message for today. That is my realization this morning. So that's what I am sharing, and I hope this was helpful for you. So drop a like and share, and like I said, we all have attachments. So share this to other people so that they can also help understand that their attachments need to be released. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah.